Hello again, everybody. This is Miss Solomon, and I am going to show you what I want you to do to take Cornell notes for the assignment for pages 5 through 13. So if we go to Schoology and open up the week 1 folder, you'll see that there is an assignment here that says Cornell notes pages 5 through 13. So everybody should have gotten a textbook, but if you didn't, go to the video tutorial folder, which is not here yet, but it will be, and open up the HMH, how to access your digital textbook video. That will show you how to get into the digital textbook if you need to. Otherwise, you can use just your textbook, or you can use a combination of both, which is what I would recommend. So just click on this assignment, and again, you should have Kami downloaded. So open up this document in Kami, and that will give you a page for Cornell notes. Now, the reality of the situation is you don't really need this page. This is something I made for you just to get you started on Cornell notes. You can always just use regular plain paper if you want to write your notes on paper. If you're quarantined at home and you're sort of stuck and you can't really print anything, then by all means do it digitally in Kami, but eventually you're going to have to print it all out and put it in your notebook. All right. So the first thing I want to do is open the digital textbook just so that I make sure that everybody can see sort of what I'm looking at the same time. And just a reminder that you go down here to HMH and you can click on that, the one with the snail. And if we go to our classes, and you can go in and you can see the assignments. So the first is 2 assignments, which actually are 1 assignment. For reasons that are not worth explaining, just know that I had to do them separately. So page 5 is this one right here, and then you can automatically move over to page 6. So if I open the textbook, the first thing you want to do is go back to your Kami notes, and you're going to type in your name. And then period, whatever period you're in. I'm going to say 6 because that's where most people are missing from. Most people are missing. And then today's date, which would be 8/21/21. And then, of course, you would want to put the unit and the chapter. So if we look here, it says 1.1, Life in the Earth System. That means this is Unit 1, Chapter 1, and it's called Life in the Earth System. So we're going to put Unit 1, Chapter 1.1. So there's different parts of Come on now, what's going on? There we go. 1.1, and this is Life in the Earth System. Why is it weird? There. Okay. So now, I'm not sure if everybody's like a fan of taking notes, but you want to try and be a little bit neat because these are going to be super important. They're going to help you study. They're going to help you learn and reason through the information that you're getting. So if we go back to our textbook, we can see that the first section of every chapter is, can you explain it? It's actually the first thing you see in every section. So 1.2 would also have a can you explain it? So what you're going to do is you are going to type in here where it says, can you explain it? That lets me know that's what you're answering. And then you can go ahead and answer that prompt. And if you read it, it talks about this caterpillar and how it eats all the tomato plants. And it just munches away on the tomato plant, and it actually talks about how the plant can actually uh, fight that off in its own ways. So you want to read this prompt, and then you want to type something, you want to answer something on your Cornell notes. Now, I know that there's an area here to start typing, but and you can do it here if you want, but then you'll have to transfer it over to your Cornell notes anyway. So you would answer that prompt here. All right. And then you would go to the next section. And you do that by basically just clicking the little arrow to the right. And now this page right here, this whole page is pages 6 through 13. So you don't have to move from here to finish that particular assignment. So what you're going to do at this point is you're going to read, sort of skim the reading and find the most important things. So this part right here is talking about systems, system and system models. In science, we use a lot of modeling and to model systems. And so what is a system and what are the properties of a system? What are the different aspects and how do how can you explain how systems work? So when we look at this, what I want to do is I want to start pulling out information, and I actually like to highlight it. So right here, it gives a definition, and I can actually copy and I can actually click on notes right here and highlight that section and make this a note. So I've made it a note over here, and what's cool is I can actually copy and paste that. If I'm using it digitally, I can copy and paste this into my Cornell notes. So this is an important piece right here. A system is a set of interacting components considered to be a distinct entity for the purpose of study. So as I go through the textbook, there's going to be lots of different interesting things. Boundaries. Boundaries define spaces of a system that to separate that system from the rest of the unit. I would actually read this and see what the most important parts are, and I would make it a note. And I mean, it's up to you. You can go back and forth, copy and paste, copy and paste. But personally, what I would do is I would put all my notes here and then just go and write them all down in my Cornell notes. I do want the Cornell notes to be on paper eventually, as I've said. Another aspect of this is that they often give you little, um, little, ways to check your understanding. And I really recommend that you do these. If there's a little multiple choice here, it says, is the human body an open, closed, or isolated system? I would check your answer here before you write this in the book. And I mean, you can actually copy and paste the question into the Cornell notes. And then oops, that didn't work. And then you could put the answer here so that you have that. So is the body an open, closed, or isolated system, right? And then you can click something and then check your answer to make sure you got it right. All right. There's other things in the textbook, things like little activities. So in this case, you would want to potentially put things in the correct order. So you would want to make sure that you're thinking about this before you do it. It says place these steps in the order to illustrate the feedback loop that occurs. So if you're sitting there going, well, what is a feedback loop? I don't really know what a feedback loop is. I'd have to go back up here and go, oh, feedback is information from one step of a cycle that acts to change the behavior of a previous step. So they're using that the thermostat as an example. Think about the thermostat in your house. How does the thermostat know when to go off or on? And there's a series of events that happens that you would have to determine the order. So put all of these in the correct order that you think they are, and then click check and see if you're right. So all of that to say, there's really a lot of good activities in here to do. And if you see anything that says explain, you want to put that in your notes. But in addition to that, you want to take notes of important vocabulary, important concepts, um, and you want to really understand it. Uh, the reason I'm asking you to do these notes over the weekend is because next week in class, I'm going to lecture on these notes. And I would want you to have some pre-programmed information in your brain so that it means more to you. It always means more to you if you can then um, go back to your Cornell notes when you're done writing everything down. So let me actually go back here. And I'm going to put everything in here. Oopsie. Something got cut off, but I'm just doing this as an example. Oops. If I click view on page, then it says the gray fox requires certain type of food. Copy. And then I'm going to keep pasting it, and I'm going to copy and paste the most important points. Now, the reality of the situation is you could sit there and go and copy and paste a bunch of stuff that doesn't have any relevance to you, but that's really not going to serve you. All right. Once you get all your notes on here, excuse me, you're going to read your notes, and you're going to then start asking yourself questions and write down key ideas or highlight vocabulary. So it says a system is a set of interacting components considered to be a distinct entity for the person of study. So maybe on over here I would say, is a human being a system? Question that maybe I have while I'm looking at these notes. If a cycle that acts to change a behavior of the previous step of a cycle, so well, that doesn't make sense. I'm gonna go back and get a better one. So here we go. Feedback is information. There we go. Feedback is information. Put that in here. From one step of a cycle that acts to change the behavior of a previous step of a cycle. So feedback is output that becomes something. So I would say, I would think about feedback. Like we've heard a lot about climate change and how the warmer temperatures makes the ice melt, and then because the ice is melting, then the temperature warms. So is global climate change feedback loop? And then I would, so these are questions that you might have that you don't understand certain things, and it will help you really start to look at your notes in a different way. They're intended to help you understand. And then of course you would want to explain this concept like how would you explain it to a 5-year-old who never heard of it before? Now you're going to think about the whole picture. What did we just read about in this section? And how can I break it down as a summarized explanation? And this right here This is super important for you to do, and this is a super important thing for your learning. All of this will help you later when it comes time to study for tests. So please do a good job on your Cornell notes. I know that it's not everybody's favorite thing to do, but it really is a good tool for learning. So good luck, and if you have any questions, please do ask me on Remind, and I will see you later.